from Canada Field in Vancouver. Hello, everybody. It's Friday night, Alaska and Vancouver, here on the SFL Network on YouTube. Hey, everybody. I'm Cameron Irvine alongside Steven Mullenax. Hi, Steven.
Hey, Cam. You know it's a Friday night because you said hi to everybody twice.
Yeah.
This is unusual for us.
It is. I'm used to the weekend being over, and it's only just beginning. I ate a lot of ice cream before we got on the air after an afternoon nap, and so I feel like I'm gonna die. Point toss.
Yeah.
We big tail. We're a kick.
So Vancouver will kick off tonight's festivities that are already underway in San Francisco, and we're going to get to all the scenarios and all the craziness coming up here on YouTube. We're just getting started. Bex, kick 'ems! Kick it! We're underway. From the 7-yard line, Robert Merrill past the 30 up to the 33, and the Vancouver Legion are up against it tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Vancouver here, they are trying to, get into the postseason here. You're going to give us the scenarios, I'm sure, here pretty soon. That's all anybody can talk about. But they have a big night here ahead of them.
2 backs and 2 receivers for Robert Merrill in the Alaska Storm. He starts with a pass to the far side, complete to Optimus Klein, a pickup of 9 yards. Stephen, we just saw Alaska last Sunday against Queen City in another intense and awesome fan night game. This one has a bit of a different feel. Alaska not needing a win, but would love a win, and Vancouver needing a win and some help.
Yeah, and this doesn't bode well, for Vancouver. Other than being at home, this is the league's worst passing defense going up against the number 2 passing offense in Alaska.
The handoff goes to Nordellis. Stanley Nordellis with a spin move picks up 6 yards to the Alaska 48. So the scenario for the Storm is if they win, they lock up the number 2 seed. That's critical because then they would get a quarterfinal opponent that had to play earlier in the week on Wednesday and Wild Card Wednesday. We'll get to Vancouver's scenario in just a moment and get reaction on Alaska's. 1st and 10 at the 48. Storm on the move on their opening possession. The pass is outside to Nordellis on a check down, and he only picks up 2 yards. Alaska can fall to 4th. They would need to lose, and Sioux Falls and Tulsa, a couple teams would need to take care of business here. More than likely, Alaska, well, we know Alaska's got a home game, and more than likely they're going to be somewhere in the top 3.
Yeah, and I think they're probably looking a little bit further down the road, thinking, if things work out for them, they may be able to play at home through the playoffs. So
2nd and 8 at midfield, 9:35 to go in the first. Merrill's pass is outside, Cochran's pass to the outside, caught by Merrill, a pickup of nearly the first down of the Vancouver 42. So the Legion need an Oklahoma City loss. That game kicks off in about 5 minutes. They also need a win. They also need an Atlanta loss. And the Vancouver Legion can get in with those 3 things occurring, 2 of which are here tonight, as Alaska has a 3rd down and short at the Vancouver 42, and Cochran's pass down the middle is caught. I thought it was going to be at least knocked away. Edgelani was in coverage, but Optimus Klein making it happen into Vancouver scoring position.
Well, Alaska's known for passing the football, number 2 passing offense in the league, 348 yards per game, nearly 350. But they're, it's surprising to know that they are also number 1 when it comes to 3rd down conversions, 51%.
1st and 10 at the Vancouver 26, 8:46 to go in the first quarter. Cochran, 3-step drop, floats it outside, lots of out routes early from Alaska. Merrill with another catch and a pickup of 6 yards. Shout out to our man on stats tonight, who I got his first name initially, and then I lost it because we had call after call after call. But Chernox is with us, or Cronox, or, you know, anything else that would screw me up and make me look unprofessional on the air. Mark is here with us on the stats. As Nordellis is going to be tackled in the backfield for a loss of 2. Thank God, an exciting play. Champion on the tackle.
Well, prior to that tackle, you know, Alaska really just picked up where they left off last weekend. Cochran, the quarterback under center for the Storm, was just in full command, especially through the first half of that game. Just looked unstoppable. It's just the same, looks like the same game plan that's had them winning games all season.
3rd down and 6 from the 22. Cochran trying to keep the drive alive, going long down the middle, caught, touchdown. What a throw. Robert Merrill, very active on the opening drive, and Alaska is off and running.
Well, look, you know, Robert Merrill's not the biggest guy on the roster, especially not on the receiver corps, but he is able to elevate and high point the football, and a great example of it right there.
So Robert Merrill, man, I'm loving the new stat sheet. This is excellent. 3 catches, 3 targets, 36 yards, and a touchdown for Merrill on the opening drive. And Ron Cochran on the opening drive goes 6 for 6 for 63 yards. And again, thanks and a shout out to Mark for our stats. And the extra point by Brechet is blocked. 6-0.
Just a matter of congestion right there. They're just able to flood the middle of that offensive line, get enough push to where the ball hits the defender in the chest. I mean, if you're going to, you know, you've seen a lot of field goals and extra points blocked by the hand. You don't see too many blocked by the chest. That just tells you how much penetration the defender got.
To keep up with all our live scores all around the league, because the odds that many of you are watching this game tonight also care about another game, download the ScoreStream app today on iOS and Android and follow your SFL team and others in the league as Mahmoud Ajlani returns up to the 26-yard line and Vancouver starts behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, this really plays right into Alaska's game plan. Vancouver wants to stop this really effective passing game, and they'd probably want to do that on the ground. Tough to commit to the running game when you're down.
7:37 to go in the first. 6-0 Alaska on top of Vancouver. 2 in the backfield, 2 receivers. Tom Pepper, the most sacked quarterback in the league, completes it to Tristan Carr. Pickup of 6 yards, and that's what he's going to have to do against Alex Dominguez. He'll need to get that ball out of his hands quick.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the most sacked quarterback in the SFL through 11 games. He's been sacked a whopping 40 times, Cam. The next closest is 34, so that's 6 more sacks. And I think actually last week, that's what he was sacked, 6 times.
And off to Jonathan Sanchez. Nice little shake out to the right side. Picks up a 1st down to the 40-yard line, and Vancouver's offense is not shying away. Vancouver tonight in their black helmets and pants with the dark blue jerseys and gold and white trim. Alaska in the red helmets, white jerseys, dark blue pants.
Reminiscent of the old DC Dragons a little bit.
A little bit. 3 receivers, split backs in the backfield. Hand off to Sanchez, and this time he gets wrapped up at the line. Big Sexy with the tackle, pickup of just 1.
Well, Sanchez ran for 93 yards on 14 carries and a touchdown last week in a loss to Dallas. So, you know, the game plan probably called for him to get the ball a little bit more because he was running so well last week. But again, I think that plays right into Alaska's hands.
Trying to get ScoreStream up, but hey, having some technical errors on that side. 2nd down and 9 of the 40. Pepper, deep ball, caught! Jeremy Vega turned around and pulled it away from the defender. He made that look easy, but it was difficult at the Alaska 37.
Yeah, really nice job by the wide receiver there just to stay focused, to look and actually pull the ball from nearly behind the defender there. Just a matter of that defender not looking back at all, totally concentrating on the receiver and allowing that receiver to come back and make a play. Not a very good thrown ball there, but a great play by the receiver saves it.
Now 4 wide for Pepper, almost halfway through the quarter.
Wow.
As Pepper drops back to pass, gets it away just in time to the sideline. A late hit, no flag call. Over there on that Alaska bench, Brett Killian with the catch for the Storm 23. And hey, whoever's keeping score updates, oh, Gooner Bear is keeping score updates for us on Score Stream. Excellent.
Hey, Goonie. Thank you, sir. Hey, look, that was terrific sideline awareness there by that wide receiver there to toe tap the pass a little bit lackadaisical. Could have been, thrown a little bit with more velocity, but the receiver just wise enough to slow up and toe tap that in.
3 wide receivers for Pepper. Outside, near side. Caught by Trevor Farrell. Pick up a 5. And I got to say, Vancouver is responding nicely to Alaska's opening drive. The Legion need this, and they're playing like it.
Yeah, absolutely. They feel the pressure. And you never want to put yourself in a spot where you need other teams to win or lose in order to get in the postseason. That's where they are. And all they can control is what they can control here on the field tonight here. And so far, so good.
And off to Sanchez, and he patiently waits for a lane to open up, gets a first down to the Storm 11-yard line. And an update for all of you that care, because I know you do, in the second quarter, San Antonio's up on San Francisco 7-0.
Well, they're doing a nice balance here. Vancouver is of just running and passing the ball, trying to keep this Alaskan Storm defense on their heels. This is a Storm defense that ranks #1 against the run.
1st and 10 at the Storm 11 as Pepper drops deep back, and Pepper's going back corner of the end zone, knocked away. First pass breakup of the night goes to Ryan Davidson, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, he's the quarterback there is lofting some of these throws. You'd like to see a little bit more decisiveness, maybe a quicker decision making. Maybe he's just going through his progression a little slowly or sluggishly. I'd like to see that decision be made quicker and those balls to just come out of the pocket like a rock.
St. Louis and Oklahoma City about to get underway across the SFL Family Networks on YouTube. 2nd down and 10 for Pepper. Pepper's pass caught on the sideline by Farrell. Again, Evan Carroll kind of whacking him out of bounds, and Alaska playing a little too much away, or a little too further away from the vest here. They're going to get called eventually, 3rd and 4.
Yeah, really aggressive for the last game of the regular season. Really kind of getting chippy out there. This just tells you that, nobody's resting on their laurels here. They're playing for something on both sides of the ball.
3rd down and 4 at the 5, 4:23 to go. Vancouver's had the ball for almost 4 minutes. Hand off to Sanchez, and he's not going anywhere. I thought he missed a hole there as he tried to cut it back left. Gets double teamed up at the line of scrimmage, and now it's 4th down. And Alaska does a good job in the red zone.
Yeah, that's a nice stand by the Storm defense. They've been giving up some pretty good runs here by Sanchez early, but way to show who they are and who they've been all season in that #1 rushing defense there to get the stop.
4th down and 4 from the 5. This is a chip shot, 22-yard field goal for Bex Kickums, and that kick for Vancouver is good. It's 6-3, 3:47 to go, and now a message from the SFL. The Simulation Football League is presented by APM Music and is the official theme music provider of the SFL. Listen to their Champions Will Rise soundtrack at apmmusic.com today and search through thousands of tracks to boost the quality of your stream just like us. APM Music, production music library and custom music house. Merrill up to the 32-yard line. We're just getting started here on the SFL Network on YouTube. We've got 4 games tomorrow, including the game of the week, Steven, with you and I. We head from Vancouver to Mexico. Just skip right over that U.S.
It's going to be a long flight.
And off to Nordellis, makes a man miss. Picks up 3, but this is what Week 12 is made of. And shows the SFL's growth. We go from Canada to Mexico. We're live in Oklahoma and San Francisco, and we got teams all over the place as you look at Cochran's perfect night so far.
Yeah, that's what's great about the SFL is all this action, and even though we're in the last week of the season, it means a lot to a lot of teams.
Deep drop back from Cochran, now fires over to Merrill, and I tell you what, man, Robert Merrill, super active here so far. That's already his 4th catch, on pace for 16 tonight.
Yeah, well, last weekend it was a lot more about Optimus Klein and Clifton, their tight end. This game plan here is just featuring these the constant little man here on this team, the guy that just makes all the dirty hard working plays for him.
Pass on the sideline, caught by Optimus Klein, falling backwards to the Alaska 45-yard line, and Vancouver's still looking for their first stop of the night as Optimus gives Champion a pat on the helmet.
Well, that's Klein's 108th reception on the season. That's number 2 in the SFL. Surprisingly, only has 5 receiving touchdowns on the year, 3 of them coming last week.
First down and 10 at the 45-yard line, 2:28 to go in the first. 4 receivers, 2 to either side, and a 3-2 look at Vancouver's defense. 3-man rush. Cochran fires, and that pass is whacked away. Champion in coverage. That, I believe, is Hernandez, the intended receiver, and it's second down for the Storm.
Nice hit and timing by the defender there, but can we talk a little bit about the lack of pressure that Vancouver is getting on Cochran? He just has all day in the pocket to make those kind of throws.
Second down and 10 at the Alaska 45. That pass over the middle, complete to Clifton. That's his first catch of the night, a pickup of 9 yards.
Well, dear Lord, don't let Clifton start going off again. Last week against Queen City, 10 receptions for 152 yards, a career day for a kind of a virtual unknown. It kind of made his name last weekend. Just a big, massive target for Cochran, who seem to be building a relationship at the right time going into the postseason.
It's still San Antonio on top of San Francisco, 7-0 in the second quarter. St. Louis and Oklahoma City are underway. 3rd down and 1 at the Legion 46. Vancouver looking for the first stop of the night. Cochran's got plenty of options, and that one was not one of them. Way overthrew Optimus Klein. That is only the 2nd incompletion for Cochran, and that was one of his worst passes of the season.
Yeah, and that is directly because Klein there got stopped on his route by a defender. Not called there, and probably incidental contact. I'm sure one side will say it one way, one side will say the other way, but definitely got stopped short on his route. That's why you see the overthrow.
The interception made by Major Key as Pepper's going to be thrown down. Sack number 41, Gerald Thomas gets him, and it's 2nd and 18 coming up.
Well, there you go, folks. That's why he's the most sacked quarterback in the SFL. Just got to have better pocket awareness than that. Just had no idea that he had 2 defenders climbing up that pocket to get him. Just had his eyes set downfield, waiting for one of the receivers to get open.
2nd and 18, 1:12 to go in the first. Pepper shuffling the feet in the pocket, completes the pass over the middle to Vega. 3rd and 10 at the 27, upcoming tackle made by number 94, the non-contract linebacker Jason Julian.
And I like that play call. They're going to give you the middle of the field there with such a long yardage total to get to the first down. You just take what you give them, what they give you, and you get into kind of decent 3rd and 10 range.
3rd down and 10, back to pass. Pepper dumped it short. Sanchez must not have seen anything open. Pickup of just 4, and Vancouver's going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, a little bit of a give up there. Just taking the release again. Could be, Pepper, he's taking a lot of hits this season. And if he's a little gun shy, you just can't blame the guy. He's seen the turf, he's seen the ground more than he's been upright.
3.5 sacks a game is the average. Vancouver will punt it away. Alaska's up 7-3, still early on here in a Friday night full of do-or-die situations. Merrill with a stiff arm and then shoved down at the 34-yard line, pops right back up. Don't see that too often out of Robert Merrill. He's more of a shifty guy and shows his power.
Well, he has 3 kick returns for touchdowns this season. That's tied for 2nd in the SFL. And he's feeling it tonight with all the catches he's had so far. So I think that's a name that someone that you might not want to go to a commercial on there, Ken.
Yeah, they've definitely got him in a rhythm early. Back to pass is Cochran. Cochran outside, wide open. Pass a little behind Merrill, but he makes the catch anyway. 5 catches for 52 yards. And Oklahoma City has scored a touchdown in the opening few minutes of that game. They're up 7-0.
We talk about throwing a wide receiver open there. Cochran's able to pump the ball. He's got big, massive hands, Cam, able to hold that ball, able to pump fake it effectively.
That's the end of the first quarter. From Canada, Alaska 6, Vancouver 3. This is the SFL's Week 12 of action on YouTube, presented by APM Music. Four receivers for the Storm. 3-2 look for Vancouver, and Nordellis in the backfield. First down, Alaska, as Cochran flips it outside, caught by Merrill again. Pickup of 5, Robert Merrill with his 6th catch here in the first half. And we'd like to let everybody know that the Wild Card Wednesday doubleheader next week will be on the front page of Twitch TV.
Yes. Get a little front page action. I like it.
2nd and 5 at the Vancouver 48. Storm up 3, trying to shore up the number 2 spot in the SFL playoff bracket as Cochran flips it outside to the fullback, who makes a move and then pushes ahead. Frank Champion missed the tackle and then got him the first down at the end of the play. Huge props to Hank Granite.
You want to know what the difference is between a playoff team and a team that's going to be watching the playoff next week? Are those kind of plays made by players that you don't expect, or you can't game plan for. They just make these miraculous plays like that, get you an extra first down, could possibly get them up another score.
Back to pass. Cochran, one-on-one, and a terrible coverage by Key. It's a touchdown. Touchdown for Robert Merrill. He is dicing up the Legion. And we have seen this out of Major Key before. He's just a high-risk, high-reward type of player, and he gets burned there by Merrill.
Well, you're right about that high-risk, high-reward, because Key does have 2 defensive touchdowns. Here, totally misplays where the ball is. Doesn't stay with the receiver, stops his feet, and actually looks to try and jump, and then gives a half-hearted effort to even try and go for the ball. But let's not forget that this Alaska offense will lull you to sleep with a lot of those out routes, and then they'll change it up on you suddenly and go deep, score.
So Brad Bretchett, who got his first extra point blocked here earlier tonight, will get that one through, although the block was coming in once again. And for Ron Cochran, he is now 13 of 15 for 144 yards, a quarterback rating of 118.
Just a calm field general, exactly what we saw against Queen City last week in their 37-31 win. Cochran just had full command of the offense. Doesn't mean that he didn't make mistakes. He's made a mistake in this game, not necessarily his fault, but still will go, will be negatively affect his stat line. But just seems really comfortable.
Mahmoud Ashlani on the return. He got popped really good at the 29-yard line, and he's really slow to get up. Gets up gingerly. Robert Merrill scores his 8th touchdown of the season. He had 6 coming in. And for Merrill, that puts him close to the top 10 behind Chris Curtis, Dan Daly, Badr Ajlani, DR Sim, and others.
Yeah, it's like, Alaska's offense, their receivers play hot potato as far as who gets to score and who doesn't from week to week.
Merrill's 7 catches for exactly 100 yards so far. Pepper going deep. Pepper's pass is picked off. Picked off at the 47 in one-on-one coverage. Ryan Tobin with the takeaway. And Vancouver is digging themselves a hole early.
Yeah, Tobin. What a nice extension there to grab that ball. I mean, that's one-on-one coverage, and you're trusting your safety there to make a play, covering a good wide receiver, and just what an individual effort there by the defender.
So Tobin gets the takeaway. 1st and 10 at the 47. Cochran now floats it over the middle. This is, a walk in the park right now for the Storm, as that pass is caught by number 80, Shaba Debo at tight end.
And let's not forget, this is a Vancouver defense that's ranked 16th overall, allowing nearly 30 points a game. So, it was going to be an uphill battle, even though they're in their own house, to stop this Alaskan's just electric passing offense. 1st
and 10 of the 42. Cochran to throw, and Clifton makes the catch midair. 7-yard gain to the Vancouver 35. San Antonio's in the red zone in San Francisco.
Well, this guy's just clearly a nightmare matchup for these smaller defenders here. This guy's gigantic looking. I don't have his exact measurement, but it looks like he's 6'7" out there on the field, and just gives Cochran just such a massive passing window and catching radius for them to throw through there.
2nd down and 3 of the Vancouver 35. Vancouver needs some sort of stop out of their defense. Wide open. That's Debo again. How does a non-contract tight end get that wide open twice on the same possession? Vancouver's only stop is Cochran's overthrow, which was his fault.
Well, I think that's the very definition of scheming a player open. And this, offensive coordinator for Alaska has done a wonderful job of just putting his players in position and they're wide open.
And off Nordellis, pickup of 2. 8:25 to go in the first half. SFL Today halftime report coming up. We'll check in and to live action around the league. And we'll also talk about tomorrow's exciting slate of games starting at 12 Central, 1 Eastern. 12 Central, 1 Eastern. Don't miss the early kickoffs.
I might have to set my alarm earlier.
2nd and 8 at the 19 in the red zone again as the Storm, as that pass outside to Granite. Granite's got some running room, shoved out of bounds by West. 14-yard line. Critical 3rd down and 3 coming up to keep this a 2-score game.
What a nice decision there by Cochran. Took a quick look down the field, did a really quick progression, decided to throw it out to a security blanket there off to the left. And we see a number of those plays here in the SFL. They'll just go right out of bounds with the ball. Alaska and their play calling, they've got that pared down now, getting ready to go in the playoffs.
3rd down and 3 at the Legion 14-yard line for Cochran. Cochran all day to throw, pass caught, Merrill. 1st down to the 5, and Cochran's got almost 200 yards already.
Boy, doesn't it feel like they just got all the momentum, and they're not pressing. That's the important thing. They're in someone else's house. They feel absolutely no pressure. And they're not straining to do anything to try and gain big chunks of yardage. I mean, it just seems so relaxed, so poised, so professional. These guys are on point at the very right time.
Against a team that needs a win, too. Cochran's 18 of 20, now 19-21. 2nd and goal at the 2-yard line as that catch is made by Klein.
Now, here's the challenge for Alaska. They are primarily, like I said, a passing team. They are last in the SFL when it comes to rushing the ball. So if there's going to be some tricky situations for them, it's going to be near the goal line.
Hand off on a counter out of the gun to Nordellis. That didn't work. 3rd and 4, loss of 2. Really well covered there. Major key on the stop.
Yeah, just trying to throw the defense off balance a little bit, going and trying to run from the shotgun. Not something that usually works here in the SFL, but if you're Alaska and you're just so focused on passing the ball, you've got to do some trickery things to try and get your non-star running back to get some yardage.
3rd down and goal at the 4. Back to pass Cochran. Cochran back in the end zone, nearly intercepted as that one dangerously knocked away. Josh Banner on coverage, and at least Vancouver keeps it to a 2-score game, but again, for Cochran, why even risk it?
Well, when you've been playing so well all season, Cochran completed 36 of 45 last week, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but 442 yards last week. He's got the green light, so he's able to take risks like that. 19
of 22 now, and even tonight he's been completing so many passes and true confidence through the roof. 21-yard field goal for Brechen is good. 16-3. How about this, Steven? Oklahoma City got a safety in the 1st quarter. How often do you see safeties in the first quarter? They're up 9-0 in the first over St. Louis, which is not helping Vancouver or San Francisco's please.
Well, we've seen such an investment on the defensive line, particularly in Tallahassee. I'm surprised we don't see more safeties because of it. But yeah, no, that's good news for them. I guess bad news for Vancouver.
San Antonio has scored. They're now up 11 on San Francisco, so a lot of 4-7 teams in the hole right now as Lonnie picks up the return to the 22-yard line, 6:21 to go in the half. And as just mentioned on the screen, make sure you download the ScoreStream app to keep up with all of today and tomorrow's action, plus the playoffs if you're unable to be near a computer or a phone when they're on Wednesday, Saturday, and Monday coming up. First down and 10 at the Vancouver 22, 6:21 to go in the first half. Handoff goes to Sanchez. Sanchez has some space, picks up just a couple. Davidson on the tackle. Last time Vancouver faced, and I'm trying to remember, Steven, maybe you can, if it was Alaska or somebody else, but they got caught in a shootout. Oh, it was with Tallahassee. They got caught in a shootout with a pass-heavy offense, and it didn't really work out in Vancouver's favor. They'd like to get Sanchez going here before the half's over.
Yeah, they're just not really built that way, and they're built to have the lead and keep the lead with this tremendous rushing offense.
And off to Sanchez again, and Sanchez will bull ahead for 6 yards. Boy, he did well to get something out of that play. Davidson another tackle. Sanchez, who quietly has been pretty impressive considering his salary. I would say that Vancouver's gotten the most out of him this year.
Well, he's a guy that can take tacklers for a ride, and we just saw an example of that right there. Welcome to the fairgrounds.
6th in the league in rushing, 1,152 yards today. Sanchez gets away, 45 midfield. Sanchez trying to turn on the Jets, tackled from behind, 28 yards on the carry, and Vancouver's got a first down.
Well, he has this come-at-me-bro mentality. This guy will take on all comers in that defense. And he's got dynamite behind his pads, and he will use that lead shoulder of his as a weapon. Dangerous downhill runner. We've seen him break some tremendous runs. If they can get this guy going, I don't know if they can stay in a shootout, but they'll surely make it interesting.
5 minutes to go and counting. 1st and 10 at the Storm 42. 16-3. Alaska's up. Pepper will pass. Pepper over the middle. Nearly threw a pick. And I gotta say, Steven, it really looked like he just rushed that pass. He didn't need to throw that.
Well, I think, I just think he's kind of shell-shocked. I mean, this is a guy that has been put through the ringer this season, trying to get, everything together. It's tough to get your offense going like this when one aspect of it starts really working and the other part of it fails you.
Pepper is 7 of 10. Outside, now 8 of 11. Turning the corner, the ball is loose.
Wow.
Knocked out on the sideline. Brett Killian with the catch. 3rd and 2 coming up from the Storm 33, just on the fringe of field goal range, but that was almost dangerous for Vancouver.
Yeah, a little bit of luck there. They're going to need all they can get against this Storm team. But yeah, for the ball to just be fumbled to go out of bounds, it saves your bacon here a little bit. Down 13 here with just under 5 minutes in the second quarter.
3rd and 2 at the 33, 4:39 to go in the second. Hand off to Sanchez, and Sanchez has a first down and more. Sanchez breaks a tackle past the 15, down to the 12-yard line. Sanchez is putting this team on his back as Vancouver moves the chains into the red zone.
Well, this guy's built like a tank, Cam. He's got an impressive combination of violence, power, and determination. And he absolutely looks to blow up defenders like he did right there.
Evan Carroll just went flying, spun around like a top. And, earlier this week, Tom Pepper announced that this would be his last season in Vancouver. You wonder if maybe that's caused a bit of distraction. We'll get your thoughts on that here in a little bit. 4:09 to go in the first half. Pepper at the outside. Nice looking throw out to Brett Killian. 2nd and 5 of the 7. Pepper's up to 77 yards.
Well, I've heard that Pepper's already found himself another landing place, so you know that he's not going anywhere here in the league. But, yeah, it's got to be disturbing. I mean, how do you handle that in the locker room when you know that a guy is on his way out and you're still fighting for a spot in the playoffs? kind of divides your attention a little bit.
How about this? San Francisco on a 3rd down and 13 got it. Well, we're talking about it in a minute. Tom Pepper's pass to the back of the end zone. It's knocked away.
Wow.
That was a beautiful play made by Tony Willis, intended for Tristan Carr. 3rd and 5 coming up, and I want to get back to the San Francisco. 3rd down and 13. Their non-contract running back, Max Maximus, 78-yard touchdown. San Francisco's down just 4 now in the 3rd.
Capable of a lot of exciting chunk plays there in San Francisco. A little bit of a boom and a bust team. Right now, booming.
Pepper, end zone, touchdown! Jeremy Vega gets open, and Vancouver completes the drive. I don't know what coverage that was for the Storm, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, the receiver there just finds what really is maybe the softest zone I've ever seen in my life, but just an ocean of end zone available. And Pepper does a nice job to stand tall in the pocket. Despite all the things that are happening around him, he can cut through the noise and find his guy wide open in the end zone and get them back into this game, which really looked like Alaska was taking a death hold of.
So the Legion put a touchdown on the board. The extra point can make it a 6-point game, and Jeremy Vega steals the touchdown away, nabs it from fantasy as Tristan Carr won't get the 6-point bump. 16-10, 3:32 to go in the second. Alaska not running away with it yet, and Vancouver hopes to keep it that way. Now a word from the SFL.
Follow the SFL on Twitter @SimulationFL, on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels. You're already here, right? Might as well stay tuned. Get league updates on your phone while browsing the internet, and make sure you never miss a live broadcast. Thank you for supporting the SFL.
Return up to the 32-yard line. That's pretty much consistent with everything else we've seen tonight out of Robert Merrill. Update on the stats. Ron Cochran is 19 of 22. Tom Pepper's 11 of 14, by the way. Robert Merrill, 8 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns, above and beyond the favorite target tonight for Cochran. Jeff Como doesn't even have a catch here in the first half. 1st and 10 at the 32. That pass, incomplete. Knocked away. Nice hit. Pass intended for Como, and Banner with the takeaway. Nicely done.
Yeah, very nice hit there by, you said Banner there. They're going to highlight Hamilton, but just an opportunity there with 5 wide, no running back, just to spread out this defense and find those open seams there. You know, Cochran has no problem delivering the ball right to where you need to go. Just the wide receiver Como couldn't bring it in. Jeremy
Vega says no distraction in our locker room this week.
Oh, okay,
so Vancouver's stayed focused. 2nd and 10 at the 32. They look like it here in the second quarter. 3 receivers for the Storm. Back to pass. Cochran, deep drop back, fires it down over the middle, and that pass complete for a 1st down. Nice job stretching past the chains. Jose Galeano, and Alaska's really spreading the ball around here, and we don't see a lot of 7-step drops out of Ron Cochran. We've seen a little bit more tonight than we're used to, but that's probably because they feel like Vancouver can't get the pressure.
Yeah, and they're going, just a 3 D linemen right now, so the odds are in favor of that offensive line.
Back to pass, Cochran over the middle again, and they are exposing that area of the field. 1st down to the Legion 46-yard line, and Como's got his first catch on 3 targets tonight.
Again, making it look really simple. If you just make this a pitch and catch game with Cochran, he's going to deliver the ball on a pillow for these wide receivers, and he's got that nice. We talked about him having that nice feathery touch. He's able to deliver a very catchable ball, and he can spin it when he needs to.
1st down for the Storm in Legion territory in a 1-possession game. Back to pass, Cochran. Cochran pump fake, now dumps it short. Pickup of 3 yards. Is that Merrill again? He is all over the field.
Well, Cochran, again, there's just no pressure on his shoulders. That's terrific to see from a quarterback that has been as successfully has been here in the SFL. Leads the league in completion percentage.
2-minute warning. This is the SFL Network on YouTube, presented by APM Music. AJ Levy in the chat saying, I want a shot at Alaska, the Sioux Falls safety. You never know. It's probably going to happen in the semifinals, but we could see that, and that would be the first meeting of the season. 2nd and 7 for the Vancouver 43. Handoff Nordellis. Nordellis picks up a meaningful 6 yards. Near another first down, just outside Brechet's range for 3.
Well, I'd say to AJ, be careful what you wish for, because this Alaska team that we've had the pleasure to watch the last 2 weeks, me and you together, they have been terrific. And they have certainly made their mistakes, some that Sioux Falls may be able to take advantage of, but for the most part, they played nearly flawless ball.
2 receivers, one either side for Cochran. Wide open. I mean, wide. I have not seen a tight end. Boy, Alaska's seen something on film, because I've not seen a non-contract tight end. That's Debo again. That wide open so many times.
And give a lot of credit to this Alaskan Storm coaching staff. They have a lot of trust in these non-contract players. They will throw to them when needed.
There it is again. That's Debo. It's his 3rd catch of the first half. 2nd down and 2. No huddle now.
They don't shy away from those guys. They use them as part of the game plan, just like they would use a star player.
Debo and Clifton off the left side. Debo's going to get another catch, but this time runs out of bounds. 3rd down and 2. Stops the clock.
I mean, there you go. That's the downside of going to a non-contract. They don't exactly have the athleticism that the star players that you've invested and trained those star players have. And, you know, sometimes the momentum, like in that case, you're going to lead them out of bounds. They're just going to kind of fall out of bounds.
3rd down and 2 at the 17. 3-3 look for Vancouver. Clock stopped at 47 seconds. Both teams have all 3 timeouts. Cochran middle, caught by Clifton. 1st and goal, timeout Storm. And we've seen second half adjustments. We see it all the time in the SFL. I think the second half adjustment for Vancouver's got to be, we got to do a better job in the middle of the field against these tight ends.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to come up with an answer there. But for Alaska's offense, doesn't it feel like they just put the hard hat on and they just go out there and they just do their job? It doesn't even matter who's across the field from them. They're just out there just running through their plays that have worked all season, and they just continue to do so.
Pass from Cochran, middle, caught at the 2. They're not going to take a timeout. That's Merrill with another catch. As Cochran rallying the troops, Vancouver trying to get another goal line stand. Cochran's pass outside of Nordellis, wide open, terrible read by the defender. That's a touchdown for Alaska.
Well, you know, I got to give a little bit, I got to say, for the defender there. He had 2 guys to cover out there. Had to make a decision. Yeah. Just picked the wrong one, or Cochran picked the right one. It's one of the 2. But, yeah, just, again, the ease in which the Storm have just marched down the field so far in the first half. Vancouver has to have more urgency in the way that they're playing. Defensively, their offense has woke up a little bit now. Hopefully we'll continue to do so in the second half. But man, this Legion defense has got to come alive and get some stops.
Speaking of waking up, must-see play out of Oklahoma City. You can rewind on the broadcast on YouTube. Colin Douglas dives for an interception, falls down, gets back up, and returns it for a touchdown. St. Louis ends a 16-0 drought, and they're finally on the board in OKC.
Wow. Yeah, and that's one that Vancouver's watching heavily. If I remember correctly, they're gonna need an OKC loss.
As does San Francisco.
So yeah, that's you know, if you're watching this game, if you're part of the Vancouver, you might want to have a second screen open. Watch that one.
Ajlani past the 20 up to the 22-yard line. SFL Today halftime report is coming up with 21 seconds to go. We'll take a look at the rest of the action going on this weekend. San Antonio trying to lock up an automatic bid to the quarterfinals in the West. They were up 14-3. It was 14-10 last we checked, and it still is late in the third. The Vaqueros with the lead. 3 receivers to the left for Pepper. Pepper going long, left side, knocked away beautifully. Great coverage by Evan Carroll. And it's second down with 17 seconds left. Risky throw.
How many times have we seen the receiver work away and get that separation there from the defender and actually come away with that ball. So nice individual effort by the defender there, who was a step or two behind the receiver.
Ron Cochran is 28 of 32 passing in the first half. 2nd and 10 at the Vancouver 22-yard line. I mean, that's a stat line for a whole game. Back to pass for Pepper. Pepper's in some trouble, has to dump it off to Sanchez. Look at all the Storm jerseys around. No gain. I think Vancouver's just going to let this clock run out here at the half. Vancouver will get the ball to start the second half. And that's all she wrote for the first 2 quarters here in Vancouver. Alaska 23, Vancouver 10. The Legion are halfway out the playoff door. Alaska is halfway to seed number 2. Steven, what'd you think of the first half?
Well, I love, obviously what I've seen from Alaska. They're just consistent. And, it makes sense that Cochran's leads the league in completion percentage at nearly 75%. He's showing that tonight. Similar numbers. This is just an every game, every week type thing for Alaska this season. Not too many teams have found a formula to beating them. And for Vancouver, we talked about urgency. This is a team that I believe is built to hold the lead, not to try and struggle and climb back into a game. So they're going to need to find someone on this offense outside of Sanchez is going to need to make some dynamic plays, chunk plays there in the second half to get them back in there.
Robert Merrill, 10 catches on 10 targets for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the non-contract receivers and tight ends for Alaska, 8 catches, 67 yards in the first half. Those have been the 2 unstoppable forces of this offense.
Yeah, and when we go back and look at the first half, you've got to say, Vancouver and their soft middle zone there, it just was way, it was chocolate chip cookie right out of the oven soft. These guys are going to need to go and make some halftime adjustments, get you some linebackers in there, drop down a safety, do whatever you've got to do to try and stop what has been just one of the most consistent offenses in the SFL. A tough, heady task for a halftime adjustment that's got to be made. Their season's on the line.
Don't look now, but San Francisco has outscored San Antonio 14-0 in the third quarter. They now lead the Vaqueros 17-14. If San Antonio loses and Houston wins tomorrow at Dallas, the Houston Hyenas will be number 2 in the West. All right, so before we head to the third quarter, we want to talk about tomorrow's slate. We got 4 games starting at 12. It's all the teams that are involved in the wild card race. Houston takes on Dallas. Again, they need a San Antonio loss tonight and a win tomorrow, and Houston can lock up the number 2 spot in the West and avoid wild card Wednesday and get started on action on Saturday instead. The Indianapolis Red Devils take on the Tulsa Desperados. Tulsa still has a chance to win the Central. All Tulsa needs to do is win. Indianapolis is trying to improve their playoff positioning. They can't get out of the wild card, but they can get a wild card home playoff game and avoid Tallahassee in the first round, although they'd get Alaska. So which one do you want? Take your pick. Also, Queen City takes on London at noon. The Corsairs can win the East with a win. If Queen City does not win against London, then the winner of Atlanta and Mexico City will win the East. What catches your eye from the first slate of games tomorrow, Steve?
Well, I mean, personally, Houston and Dallas, that's a rivalry that we've had with them in state for a long time. And this is a Dallas team who literally has nothing to lose, is playing at home and coming off only their second win of the season. So I think a dangerous team to face. I like the fact Tulsa and Indy are both playing for something important. Tulsa to win their division, Indy to get that oh so important home game. Queen City, this is an opportunity for London to play a little bit of a spoiler here and try to get Mexico or Atlanta. So surprising how congested that conference is and how this 1 week is going to help decide out of 3 teams who wins the conference. It's amazing.
At 2 o'clock, it's our game. Atlanta at Mexico City. Atlanta lost a heartbreaking double overtime loss to Tallahassee. But I was talking about this earlier this morning with the director of player personnel. It seems like Atlanta thrives in these situations. It's their 3rd season in the league. Their 1st season, they got eliminated on the last game of the season when St. Louis pulled the upset. Then the following season, they got the number 4 spot, upset Tallahassee, got to the Eastern Conference Final, lost in double overtime. And here Atlanta is again on the last week of the season and control their own destiny with an opportunity to get back into the playoffs as a lower seed. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform tomorrow against Mexico City, who's the defending champs and obviously have plenty to play for.
Yeah, I think, these are 2 teams that have been struggling in portions of the season to find their identity. I think Atlanta kind of knew who they were at the beginning and then struggled to figure that out as the season went on. And the exact opposite for Mexico. They didn't look like the returning champions earlier in the year, but they have come back to form and kind of rediscovered what works for them. So really 2 titans here in that conference going head-to-head. It's going to be an exciting game to watch.
Tallahassee has the ability to have only the 3rd regular season undefeated team in SFL history. They take on Carolina, who has looked good over the last few weeks. They're now 3-8. In Sioux Falls, the Sparrows take on Chicago. If Tulsa loses, Sioux Falls could nab the Central. If San Antonio loses, even if they win, actually, and Sioux Falls finishes 8-4, they would be the number 4 seed regardless and potentially face San Antonio in that first round. So lots to play for on Sunday as well. When we come back to Canada Field, Vancouver will have the ball to start the second half. Alaska's up 23-10, trying to shore up the number 2 overall seed. This is the SFL Network on YouTube, presented by APM Music.
Don't miss the SFL podcast every Saturday night at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern on Twitch before the league's weekend slate gets kicked off. Join me, Mighty RX, defending champion team owner Ramos Lynn, and our host, Jack Brown, to break down all the headlines in the SFL. Jack, yeah, I know we gotta move on. Calm down. See you there, everybody.
Join the world's fastest growing sim football community by jumping onto our Discord server. Use the Discord command in chat to keep up with schedules, news, notes, announcements, and polls. Jump off the sidelines and into the action, here where we're loading legends at the SFL.
Back here in Vancouver, start of the second half, 23-10. Alaska on top of the Legion. Ajlani from his goal line. And Mahmoud Ajlani returns up to the 23. Alongside Steven Mullenax, I'm Cameron Irvine. We've got Mark on stats doing an awesome job for us. Trying to keep track of Ron Cochran is a chore. Tom Peppers back out there, only down 2 scores.
Yeah, really important series for Vancouver right here. An opportunity to close the lead here on the Storm offense that so far has looked unstoppable.
Trips off the left side for Pepper. Pepper drops back to pass. Fires it outside to, that is Farrell. Pickup of 9 to the 31-yard line. And Pepper's done a good job of spreading the ball around tonight. Now 12 of 16. Vega's got 3 catches. Killian's got 3 catches. Farrell's got 3 catches.
Nice job by Vancouver coaching staff. a nice open wide receiver route so Pepper can get a little bit of that rhythm going. You know, I think he's a rhythm player. Once he gets in rhythm, look out. But if you get him out of rhythm by those sacks, you know, those sacks do that. It can hurt you.
Pepper's pass caught by Killian on the outside. 1st and 10 to the 36. So Vancouver starts the half with a move of the chains.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to update Sanchez's numbers. 9 carries, 73 yards. Surprised he hasn't gotten more touches. First down at the 36. Pepper 3-step drop, fires it outside, caught again by Killian, picking up 5. Go ahead, Steven.
Oh, I was just going to refer to something you talked about at halftime. You know, at Tallahassee, Carolina game that takes place on Sunday, it's an opportunity for Tallahassee to go undefeated. Only the 3rd time to have possibly an undefeated team in the SFL. I might be a proponent to them losing that game. Their problem has been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And do you want that pressure of a winning streak on you, or do you want to get a loss out of the way when it doesn't matter?
2nd and 5 at the 40. Tristan Carr. What a move! Carr turns on the Jets inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Carr is a big play tight end, and he makes a pretty move in the open field of Vancouver in business.
Look at the Jets on this tight end here. Well, first of all, what a great catch. It has to do a 360 to bring the ball in. He's doing that surrounded by defenders, and then he has the just speed to just outrun the pursuers like his feet were on fire. Amazing.
Davidson brings him down. Carr now 2 catches for 48 yards. Back to pass Pepper. Outside to Farrell. Picks up 3. 2nd and 7 to the 15, and Pepper is on point here to start the 3rd quarter.
Well, we talked about the Legion needing someone on offense other than Sanchez to come alive for him here. That Carr big chunk reception right there might be the start of something really good here for Vancouver.
9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. 3 receivers, including Vega, to the top of the screen. Split backs in the backfield for Pepper. 8:53 and counting to go in the 3rd. Vancouver holding their own, hand off to Sanchez, and Sanchez looked like he was going to get away there for just a second. It's wrapped up by Pierre Lyon on the defensive line. 10 carries, 74 yards now for Jonathan.
Yeah, I understand the mentality here by Vancouver. Try to catch the Storm off guard. You've been pass all this series. Maybe you can catch them in the run. That is the #1 rushing defense.
8:23 to go, 3rd quarter. Pepper going in zone in double coverage, and it's incomplete. Dangerous throw. Brings up 4th and 7, and I'm not sure how Pepper thought that Brett Killian was going to come down with that.
Well, Pepper can get locked on to a certain receiver at times and think that, he can play hero ball and get that ball through a very, very tight window there. 3 defenders in the area, should have just progressed the ball and just taken what he could get. Maybe somebody could get across the sticks for him. Missed opportunity there.
Jeremy Vegas in the chat, he says that his ex-girlfriend's name is Alex Dominguez. So my only question is, was her nickname also Big Sexy? 31-yard field goal for Vancouver is good. 8:15 to go in the 3rd, 23-13.
Ooh, boy. We're going to have to meet some of these guys in person. You understand that when the convention happens.
Oh, yeah. No,
okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
And when he brings Big Sexy with him, you're going to be okay.
Ex-girlfriend.
Who
brings an ex to a convention?
Oh, well, I guess I'll have to cancel one hotel room.
Look, man, when you
I didn't know.
When you offer personal information in the chat, you know we're going to have to say something. Kickham's going to kick it away for Vancouver, so it's a 10-point game for the Legion, so they trim the deficit. Their problem, though, has been stopping the Storm, who now get a fresh look on offense. That drive nearly 3 minutes to start the 2nd half.
Well, let's see what this defensive coordinator came up with, at halftime. See if they've made some adjustments here. They're through that first half, that soft middle, got really taken advantage of. Let's see if they close that hole and are able to get at least a stop or two here. I don't know if they've had one all night.
Not good news for the Legion or the Sharks. Oklahoma City scores again. It's 23-7 there towards the end of the first half. That pass is caught by Como. Pickup of 6 yards to the 36 as you look at the updated quarterback numbers.
I tell you what, though, that Oklahoma City team, they're not always the most consistent bunch, but they can string together some really nice offensive performances to the detriment here of possibly the Legion.
If they win tonight, that'd be 3 in a row after starting 2-7. Second down and 4, handoff to Nordellis, and Frank Champion, who's had a bit of a quiet night, as has Marquise Reed. I don't think we've mentioned his name once. Brings up 3rd down and 5, and that's what happens when you face a team that doesn't do a ton of running and has kept the ball away from the star linebackers for Vancouver.
Yeah, these linebackers really are good run defenders, and you try to put them in coverage. That's kind of where they have some. I wouldn't say they make some mistakes, but you don't want linebackers in coverage all the time. Sorry to talk so long.
No mistake there. Robert Merrill picks up another reception. Merrill now with 11, and Cochran is 30 of 34. I mean, he's putting together a historical completion percentage this evening on passing attempts.
This guy, I mean, he's not the most valued quarterback in the league. He's not the highest paid quarterback in the league, but he just gets the job done. He's not flashy. He doesn't have big numbers touchdown-wise, but he's consistent.
Cochran, middle, Como, first down to Banner. And this has to concern Vancouver here just a little bit because I'm not seeing the adjustment here against Alaska receivers running free about 10 yards down the middle of the field.
Yeah, it's usually we talk about a defense and their predator mentality. This is more like a prey mentality. They're almost just waiting for Alaska to make a mistake, and not causing them.
Well, and there may be an element to that. Long drives extend the game, right? They're only down 10 right now. As Cochran's pass deep down the field, knocked away. What a play by West to the far end of the field. He was all alone on an island, and he shut that down. Pass intended for Klein.
Yeah, and that's a tough target to cover. Nice job by West right there, as Klein is just a nightmarish mismatch for most defenders. But West, a nice, tall, lanky, really well-built corner. It's like I'm asking for his phone number, but I'm impressed by the guy.
Update from around the league in just a moment. Second down and 10 as Cochran hit as he threw. Somehow got the pass away. Nordellis picks up nothing. San Francisco, talk about a sense of urgency. They have outscored San Antonio 20-0 in the second half. They just scored again. Sharks are up in the fourth quarter. They need a Vancouver loss and an Oklahoma City loss. They're getting one of those right now in order to stay alive in the playoff hunt. They're up 27-14 on San Antonio. 3rd down and 10 for Cochran. Cochran deep ball down the field. That's knocked away by Key. And the Vancouver defense gets off the field.
There you go, Vancouver. Very well done. Finally, they've put a stop to this Storm offense. They're giving their offense an opportunity now to get the ball back, put some more points on the board. But wow, terrific coverage right there, hip to hip with the wide receiver. I think he ran the route better than the wide receiver did.
And that's saying something since Robert Merrill has been outstanding. That's the first time that Merrill's been targeted and hasn't gotten a catch. And I believe this is the first punt of the game for Alaska. There may have been one in there, but June Tutu out there to punt it away.
And a name that we have not heard yet from Vancouver's defense is Agilani, the guy that leads the SFL in interceptions. I think we may hear his name before this game is over.
This punt is going to bounce inside the 10, down to the 4. Can't stay out of the end zone. So Vancouver will get the ball at the 20 with 5:45 left to go in the third quarter. So setting the stage here, Vancouver needs a St. Louis win. They're not getting it right now, and they need a win. San Francisco needs a Vancouver loss. They are getting that, and an Oklahoma City loss. They're not getting that. So right now, the Renegades are in the driver's seat, but that game is just now approaching halftime. Sanchez gets a carry and 9-yard pickup. He's stopped in his tracks at the 29-yard line, but still will help Vancouver stay ahead of the chains.
Well, the Legion's play this season has led them to this situation, and And again, all they can do is just try to win the game that's in front of them. They can't look ahead. They can't look over at the televisions on the sidelines. They've got a big challenge in front of them.
Pepper back to pass. Pepper hit as he threw. And he's probably lucky the pass was a little off target because that would have been out of bounds no matter who caught it. Dominguez applying some pressure. He's actually had a kind of a quiet game tonight, but it's 3rd down and 1 coming up for the Legion.
Yeah, when you've been as hit as much as Pepper, it doesn't take much for you to start seeing some of those ghosts. But there's the difference we've seen on the Storm's offense and Vancouver's. Vancouver's clearly pressing.
3rd and 1, 3 receivers, 2 backs. 5 down linemen for the Storm. Hand off to Sanchez on a stretch. And Alaska was ready for it. Lost the 2 yards. Vancouver gets predictable, and they'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, that's one of those where the head coach, is over there looking at the offensive coordinator like, did we lose a playbook this week? Because it seemed like the Storm knew exactly what they were going to run. Probably just hours and hours of watching film. Just knowing their tendencies, and that's where it pays off right there.
Vancouver down 10. It's a shame for them. They finally get a punt out of Alaska, and then their offense can't do anything with it. Merrill from the 32-yard line has some room to return. Robert Merrill up to 42, 10-yard return. Going to end up with great field position for the Storm.
Yeah, that's a guy. Every time I see he gets the ball and he makes that first break, is able to make initial person miss a tackle. Merrill's the kind of guy that can take it to the house. Has done it 3 times this year. It's in the way that he's playing tonight, he's been electric. So I'm just waiting for that crack to increase to open up for him to take off down the field.
3 receivers for Cochran on the outside. Ron Cochran is 32 of 38. Back to pass. Fires his 33rd completion. Optimus Klein picks up 9. Klein has 5 catches. Merrill 11, Como 3, Clifton 3, and non-contracts with 8. Nordellis has 3.
Well, Vancouver definitely watched last week's game film and saw what Klein and Clifton did, against Queen City, and they took note of that. They've taken those 2 players pretty much out of this game. They've left Merrill open. That's really hurt him.
2 receivers, both at the bottom of the screen. Merrill and Klein. 2nd down and 1. Back to pass. Cochran. Cochran fires middle. Caught by Merrill up to the Vancouver 44-yard line. 12th catch for Robert Merrill as the beat goes on for Alaska.
And again, Cochran's not feeling any pressure. He's letting the play develop. He's given enough time to his receivers to get wide open, even in the middle of the field, and that actually takes a little time to get down there and to get that wide open. It's no pass rush is kind of the symptom here.
Pass dropped by Debo. First time we mentioned his name in a negative sense. So 2nd down, and Cochran's saying, "Hey, you're screwing up my completion percentage."
Yeah, and those kind of mistakes, those are the kind of mistakes Alaska has been making in these games, ones that don't really hurt them. That was on 1st down. You're still 2nd and 10. You're still looking pretty. Can still get a short 3rd down conversion out of this, which they are number 1 in the league at getting. So all in their game plan, all in their wheelhouse, all Storm so far.
7 in the box for Vancouver, down 10, late 3rd quarter. Cochran faced a little bit of pressure that time, but completes it over the middle to Merrill. Pickup of 7, 3rd down and 3, and look at that stat line.
Yeah, and that's, those haven't all been short pass plays. There are certainly many of them there, but he's ran a full route tree and completed passes all over the field. Just right now, they just seem content with taking whatever's available in the middle, and it's been enough to convert 3rd downs.
Pass, sidearm throw. Clifton got hit from the back and still caught it anyway at the 28-yard line. I tell you what, late in the season, this guy has been as sure-handed as they come.
And boy, it sure does look to me that Alaska has perfected, the short passing game. The defense just can't get in position quickly enough, and they can't get enough pass rush to bother the passer. It's kind of a perfect storm. Thank you.
2:46 left in the 3rd. It was such a somber thank you. Back to pass. Cochran fires. They call it a catch for Klein. Pick up a 4. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth a challenge at this point. But that did absolutely look questionable.
Not sure if it's worth challenging, just a 4-yard pickup in field goal range anyway. No challenge out of Vancouver. 2nd and 6 at the 24. 2.5 to go in the third. The Legion desperately trying to keep it a 2-possession game to hang around. 6 in the box. Cochran to throw. Quickly outside. Caught by Merrill. Pick up a 3. And it's just completion after completion after completion for Alaska. Vancouver has to be careful that they don't get lulled to sleep.
Well, just by their formations, you can tell Vancouver is absolutely playing the pass, but they're really just allowing Vancouver to have Alaska to have anything short. Really anything short that they want. They're just trying to stop the deep pass plays. And Alaska's taking it, and they've gotten 23 points by doing so.
Ron Cochran could set the record this season for most completions in a game. He's already up to 40. Cochran, 41. What a route by Klein. Perfect throw. Check that. Clifton over the middle. 335 yards for Cochran. He's only averaging 7 yards per attempt, which is a little low. But my goodness gracious, he's just carving them up. Cochran averages 7.2 yards an attempt coming in. 1st and goal at the 9. Vancouver in need of something. Defense been on the field for a long time. Out to Nordellis. Nordellis makes a spin, gets popped at the 5-yard line by Champion. Alaska's drive is 7 minutes long and counting.
It's like a surgeon going in for brain surgery here, just dissecting and hopefully not a brain, but chopping up. This defense. It's just masterful.
2nd and goal at the 5. Cochran out of the gun. Oh, that's not going anywhere. Well, Debo turned the corner. Did he get in? No. They called him out at the goal line. I thought for sure that was a nothing burger, and Debo turned that into something.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing when I saw that route develop. I thought, oh, he's going to go right out of bounds. And as you said it, almost as if he heard you from the booth, he does a little twinkle toes and turns just enough to get back in bounds.
3rd and goal at the goal line. Cochran's going to throw. Cochran outside. Touchdown. What a throw. Absolutely perfect to Merrill, who's got a hat trick, and Marquise Reed can't believe it.
Well, we talked about halftime adjustments for Vancouver. Well, here you go. Alaska's halftime adjustment. They have struggled near the goal line. They fix it with this nice, quick out route to the guy that's been red hot all night.
I mean, that was pretty good coverage from Major Key. He could have been on him a little more, but Cochran had to put that in a perfect spot, and he did. And he's now 44 of 51 as Alaska is proving that they deserve to take on a wild card team in the quarterfinal round. Merrill now has 17 catches and 3 touchdowns.
Well, you let Cochran get in such a great rhythm. There is no defense for the perfect pass, and the guy is just, you've let him dink and dunk all the way down the field, and it's just built his confidence to the point where he can make a perfect pass like that.
Final score in San Francisco, the Sharks blanked the Vaqueros in the second half. Wow. And win 27-14. The Sharks are still alive. They need a Vancouver loss and a Renegade loss here tonight to be alive when it's all said and done. Oklahoma City leads 23-10 in the 3rd quarter, and Alaska's up 30-13 in the 3rd.
Yeah, and now the onus of getting back into this game is on the offense. Clearly, the defense is struggling. It's time right now, Vancouver. Here's your time, an opportunity here to go to the postseason possibly. You got to take it.
1st and 10 to the 24. Sanchez going backwards. Loss of 2 yards. And this is a dangerous position for Vancouver. Honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen Pepper take some more deep shots like the one he had to Tristan Carr earlier.
Well, they're just not feeling that sense of urgency. Their best player is Sanchez. We understand the reasoning why they want to go to him. But at some point here, you're going to have to turn the offense completely over to Pepper and say, hey, guy, I know that we've had our struggles this season. We need you right now. We need you to come up big. He has the wide receivers to do so.
2nd and 12 at the 22-yard line for Pepper out of the gun. Back to pass all day. Pepper deep. Pass is underthrown. Carr was open. Tobin on the coverage, and this is giving me flashbacks, but sort of in an opposite way. Vancouver was at home in Week 12 of last season with a chance to go to the playoffs with a win. But it's just not coming together tonight like it did against the Renegades in Week 12 last season.
Well, I hate to see Carr on the sideline. I mean, he's been one of, if their only big playmaker, and I can really only remember him making one play. To see him on the sidelines is disturbing.
3rd down and 12. Needs to turn the corner and won't get there. Evan Carroll whacks Farrell at the 32-yard line. It's the end of the 3rd quarter. Vancouver's in some trouble. This is the SFL Network on YouTube, presented by APM Music. Vancouver patiently watching. 2 games in action in the 3rd. Or San Francisco, I should say. As the Sharks loving this result.
Let's go.
Yeah, you can sense the frustration building there for Vancouver. Again, their defense is going to have to come up, but come up big for them here to try and stop something they haven't really been able to stop all night. But it's hard when you see your offense isn't taking advantage of their opportunities.
Farrell return up to the 34-yard line, so the Storm, who are trying to finish 10-2, would play the top wild card from Wednesday night, and we'll still, by the end of the night, not know those matchups. That'll be determined tomorrow. We likely will have something to share before 2 o'clock, before the 2 o'clock game tomorrow, but you never know. Cochran is in some trouble, and Cochran is finally sacked. Nobody was open, and nobody was helping him either, as it took about 7 seconds for Vancouver pressure to get there. Sack made by number 92, Red Ross.
And if you're Alaska, that's not something you want to see. That the way that he was hit and brought down from behind really awkwardly, you don't want to put your guy in a position where he's not 100% healthy in the postseason.
Back to pass, Cochran. Outside, open to Klein, picks up 8. 3rd and 4 coming up, another stoppage of the clock, and that's the 45th completion for Ron Cochran. 8 now for Optimus Klein, and we'll have to figure out who's completed the most passes this season in a game this year. 3rd down and 4. Cochran, deep ball, middle, should have been picked. Should have been picked. Banner has had a chance at a couple of them. Alaska can't finish the job. They'll have to punt it away, and Vancouver's defense helps keep a possibility of a comeback still within reach.
Well, the sense of urgency that we talked about, the Legion's defense obviously has it. I mean, they're showing some guts out here tonight, and they know what they're playing for. Somebody needs a lot of fire under this Legion offense.
10:05 left in the 4th. Here comes the rush on the punt. Can't get there. Return from Ajlani from the 23-yard line. And Alaska has done a fantastic job on Ajlani tonight. He has just not had any room to return at all.
Yeah, and that's part of football is being successful on all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. And how many times have we seen the game of field position be affected so much by what special teams does there near the goal line and the tackles that they can make like they did right there.
Tom Pepper has 7 incompletions tonight. 6 of those incompletions are because Alaska defenders have whacked the ball away. Hand off to Sanchez, breaks a tackle. Sanchez picks up 6, averaging 6 yards a carry. And I think Vancouver's okay to continue to run here, but they can't have a 4 or 5 minute drive. They need to get down the field eventually.
Yeah, and as long as these runs are for positive yardage, it's kind of a feast or famine when you turn to the running game, especially against a defense like this. And what does it do for the rhythm of your quarterback?
Hand off to Sanchez on a trap, gets through the initial front, and Ryan Tobin makes the stop, but not before 1st down for Vancouver at the 38-yard line. Clock continues to tick.
And Sanchez has done a really great job tonight. I mean, everything we saw from last week, he's shown the same thing this week, and they've given him more opportunities. But again, a running offense in the SFL is really built to keep the lead and hold the lead, not to climb back into, a situation like this when you're down 17.
9:03 to go in the fourth. 1st and 10 at the 38. Trips on the right side. Flip out to Farrell. Can't even get out of bounds. Picks up 5 as Andy Hamilton is directing, doing a little coaching on the sideline here late in the season.
Yeah, and he's probably telling Pepper, look downfield, look downfield. We need to get some points up on the board here, and these short runs and these short passing routes are not their friend right now as the clock continues to wind down.
Tristan Carr leads the team in receiving yards with 48 today on 2 catches. Outside to Sanchez as Pepper avoids pressure, and Sanchez gets smacked by Evan Carroll, who's been a hard hitter tonight. 3rd down and 3 coming up, and Vancouver needs, they're just flat right now.
Yeah, give credit to that pass rush there, the Big Sexy and those guys there on the defensive line. Able to put really quick pressure on Pepper to force him to go out to his running back.
Now 8 in the box for Alaska. Pepper needs to get rid of it. Pepper got it away just before he sacked, and the pass. Oh, that is horrific. They're calling that a 4th down. He was a yard past the sticks.
Yeah, and I think they're looking at the ball there to determine that.
No.
He did catch it from behind. I don't know why they're not challenging this.
That's crazy.
I guess they figure they're just going to go for that inch.
Yeah, 4th and inches. I mean, if they don't, if something bad happens here, it's not. This didn't decide the game. Vancouver's struggling here. 4th and inches. They need this. Down to 5, down to 4. Are they actually going to snap the ball?
No, they're going to waste the time.
Oh my gosh, that's a nightmare series there for Vancouver. That's terrible. If you're going to spend the timeout, why not just challenge the play?
I don't know. I mean, they may be watching some of our other games and figuring they may need both challenges before the end of the night. I don't know. But yeah, just a bad series of events. That's really a culmination of what the night has been so far for Vancouver. Very few bright spots and a big shining sun coming from Alaska.
So Kingston's going to punt the ball. 3:05 to go in the 3rd. OKC still in control, 23-10. So right now, it's the Renegades that are winning the night, not the Sharks, Legion, or Gladiators. From the 12-yard line, Merrill, not much there. And boy, it almost looked like he was about to cough up that football. That would have been a disaster.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be on Vancouver at the moment. I am sure that this defense, who's done a really good job here in the second half, are glaring over at the offensive players, saying, hey, we're giving you opportunities. You guys aren't taking advantage of it.
7:24 to go in the 4th. Vancouver's offense just can't get it moving. Cochran outside. Klein makes the catch. That is short of the mark. That's what they called with Vancouver the last time, and that's the 2 plays were not the same.
Yeah, the way the night's been going, kind of expect that call to be made a 1st down. Right. It's just been opposite for whatever's happening for Alaska. This is not happening for the Legion. But yeah, again, just another day's work here for Alaska. They seem to have this in utter control.
7:10 to go in the 4th quarter. The Storm in cruise control right now in the Legion. Nordellis picks up a 1st down. That'll keep the clock moving. It's Nordellis' I believe it's his 8th carry of the night. Hasn't done much on the ground. Has shown some flashes this year, but Vancouver's done a pretty good job on him, but they've just not been able to stop Cochran at all.
Yeah, and then again, this is not saying much. This is the worst rushing offense in the league because they choose to be. But they'll probably look to run some clock here because, they can't.
Cochran middle, Klein pick up 7 to the Alaska 32. Cochran now 47 of 55 for 372 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. And I don't know how the quarterback rating is only 111. That just doesn't seem right.
Well, in a majority of those passes, were to wide open receivers.
Yeah.
He hasn't really had to test this defense much because they haven't been there to take the test.
Clifton is off the line, left side. He goes middle, but then the flip out is to Nordellis. Nordellis will get away from 2 and pick up a first down. Alaska's just making all the plays tonight.
Well, Nordellis, underrated non-contract. How many non-contracts can make 2 defenders miss in the open field? Not many. And this guy does it on the regular. Really an underrated asset in this Alaska offense.
So 5:52 left. 1:55 left in the third quarter. St. Louis has just put a touchdown on the board. They have not gone away despite falling behind 16-0. Storm pick up 9 on yet another catch. The clock continues to move as Cochran approaches 400 yards.
And, you know, for Cochran tonight, the word for me is effortless. I mean, he hasn't had to put much on the ball, just a couple situations where, you know, even in the long touchdown play that he had to Merrill, the ball was behind the receiver, and the receiver had to make a play for it. He just hasn't had to press all night, and it's just been absolutely a dissection of this defense.
Down to 5:10 to go in the fourth. Cochran outside. Klein caught. First down to the 49-yard line. Stops the clock with 5:06 to go. I mean, this is one of the best games I've ever seen Alaska play. I mean, they're just all over this.
An absolute clinic for anyone that wants, you know, to excel in the passing game. You know, they're not going for these deep, long, to the post touchdowns. They are just wide open on these shorter pass plays.
There it is again. 10 yards over the middle to Clifton. No second half adjustments available for Vancouver. Clifton has a first down to the 36-yard line. That is that is a completion number 50 for Ron.
And no defender even carries him down the field at all. I mean, you know, the defensive end there, look, just right past him, chipped him a little bit, and then it was wide open spaces, and we've seen that all night.
First and 10 to the 36, 4:28 to go. Clock ticking away, fading away on Vancouver's season. 2 backs and 2 receivers for Cochran. Cochran now bleeding some clock, down to 8 on the play clock. He'll hand it off to Nordellis around the left side, and Vancouver shuts that down. Pretty good run defense here for Vancouver. Frank Champion with his 5th tackle, 3rd in the backfield. Clock will continue to move. Alaska's had the ball for another 5 minutes. They have dominated time of possession here tonight, and when you think about Vancouver's season, Steven, they went 5-7 last year, made the Western Conference Finals. It looks like they're going to finish 4-8 this year, and really this team, as Nordellis going to get dropped for another 4-yard loss by number 98 there, Boykins. This team has just got to figure out a way to not start so slow, because both seasons took them a while before the first win.
Yeah, I've got a lot of heart for Vancouver. I mean, we had similar seasons to start off with, and I understand the frustrations that'll take, you know, that can take place. But you also got to remember, this is the first season we've had player progression, and there's a lot of things that teams have seemingly learned from the beginning, and some teams like mine or Vancouver are still learning now, and hopefully, you know, we can apply it to next season and have much more success.
Deep ball, Cochran. That's knocked away by West. So Alaska goes for the home run, the dagger, on 3rd down and long, and that stops the clock. So Vancouver's defense really here in the second half. I know they've given up a lot of yards and a lot of receptions, but they've done a better job on Alaska as a whole. It's just the offense. I'm really honestly surprised that Vancouver hasn't given up more points, considering how exhausted this defense must be.
You know, I'm just grateful Alaska ran it twice and threw a deep ball. I'm at loss for words to describing open down the middle.
This punt is a pretty one, but they can't find it as it rolls in the end zone at the 20-yard line. So 2:57 to go in the fourth. The other game in action still has a whole another quarter left to play. Oklahoma City 23, St. Louis 17. If you're a San Francisco Shark fan, you're watching that game with intent, because you need a St. Louis victory there to stay alive. If St. Louis wins, then it's San Francisco and Atlanta still alive for that final playoff spot. If Oklahoma City wins, it's Oklahoma City and Atlanta in contention for that last spot, as Pepper has all day, fires deep, pass is caught by Brett Killian. Nice throw for Pepper, one of his best of the night.
Yeah, this is the time of the season where I'm just thankful I don't have your job. I would not try and try to figure out all these playoff scenarios. I believe I read that you mentioned there in Discord that this has been the most convoluted playoff race that we've ever had.
I mean, I just gave up on the middle of it. On seeds 4 through 9, I was like, I can't. My time is not worth this. Like, I'm going to sit here for an entire day. I'm going to, like, gain 3 pounds sitting here trying to figure out these scenarios. Pepper deep, double coverage. That's incomplete. Jeremy Vega has been completely taken out of this game. He has been very quiet. 3 catches on 7 targets for 48 yards. He does have a touchdown, but that catch-to-target ratio is not too good.
Yeah, and he's not alone. I mean, this is a Vancouver offense that just didn't seem to have it together from the start as far as their passing game. And, you know, I think that has a lot to do with the guy under center and how much pressure that he's faced this year.
Well, you mentioned it earlier that this is not the situation as Sanchez makes the catch, gets down the sideline, and is just clobbered at the 42. You mentioned early that Vancouver did not want to get down early because they wanted to run the ball a little bit more. 15 carries, 90 yards. Pretty good night for Sanchez, but they have just not been in a position all night tonight to really get the run game going as they pick up the first down.
Yeah, and that's, you know, like, well, now that we have an injury here. Pierre Leon there. Lion, yeah. You know, for the Legion, it seems like, you know, it's just something the way that they've built their team, and they've built it in a way where they can ground and pound, but also have the air power when they need it. Similar to what Queen City, you know, does. They have that similar type of balance. But, you know, and why not? Queen City's won for the championship 4 times. So why not structure? Well, you know, the thing is that you've got an experienced Belichick-like coach that has run that system for a long time. And, you know, Andy Hamilton does a wonderful job, but is still young when it comes to coaching here.
Caught by Carr down to the Alaska 21-yard line, so Carr gets free. Nice throw from Pepper under pressure. I thought there for a minute that Carr was going to get away. 2:13 to go. Vancouver has 2 timeouts because they wasted one on that 4th and inches. That pass is incomplete through a crowd of almost everybody in the secondary, 2nd and 10.
I wanted to finish my thought about Andy Hamilton. You know this, that Andy is such a hard worker and so diligent in everything that he does. You know, it's only a matter of time before he gets all of this figured out. And it's just been a down year for his, you know, for his team this season. Hey, look at me. I've been to the championship game. You know, and I've had a lot of success in the league, and I've had a down season. Those things happen, especially when you consider player progression.
3 receivers, Pepper, deep drop back, steps up in the pocket, fires. Oh, he overshot a wide-open Brett Killian. That was the most comfortable Pepper looked, at least until I saw the overthrow tonight, and that was just a missed opportunity.
Yeah, again, that pressure. I mean, you could feel it in the pocket, and I'm sure that it's 10 times worse for him just based on what he's been through this year. But, yeah, if he just held it for just a second longer, that's likely a touchdown.
3rd and 10. Pepper to throw, looking deep middle, and overthrew another. It was Killian again. And you got to kick the field goal here. You got to get it to a 2-score game, but that Vancouver, this should be a 10-point game right now. That's 2 missed touchdowns from Pepper.
And I that may be a flaw in the play call, or that could be a receiver running a bad route. But I saw 2 receivers in that area, and you never want to bunch them up like that because it attracts more defenders to that area. There, it looked like just 1 defender on 2 Vancouver receivers, and they still couldn't get it done.
This is a 38-yard field goal to make it a 2-possession game. Vancouver will then need some onside kicks. The snap was bad. The hold was great. And the field goal from 38 yards away is good. So 1:57 left. It's a 2-touchdown game. And now it's up to the hands teams.
Yeah, well, good credit there for the backup quarterback there to actually looks like he caught the ball and he laid it on the ground like a loaf of bread and then turned it up just in time. Strange at this point, but kind of indicative of the night for Vancouver.
2 minutes. This is the SFL on YouTube, presented by APM Music. Here's the onside kick from Kickham's. Help keep Vancouver's season alive. Bouncing ball recovered by Alaska with ease at the 37-yard line. 8 minutes now left in OKC. It's still a 23-17 game. And Vancouver's got a couple of timeouts to burn. They could get the ball back, but this is almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we can see there's people heading for the parking lot. I mean, not the way that you want to end the season if you're Vancouver. Obviously, still a hope beyond hope here almost of trying to get back into this game. First thing, you got to stop this offense.
Conquer's going to throw, and it's caught. You just throw your hands up if you're a Legion fan going, what? They actually pass, and we have a golden opportunity to save a timeout, and they throw another completion.
I'm stunned that the starters are still out there, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
They're up. You got to think about the health of your players at this point. It's just everything is uphill for Vancouver. They've got to do so many things to get back into this game. I don't know why you risk it.
Back to pass, Cochran again, and Cochran's got nobody open. He checks it down to Nordellis and didn't get the first down. Vancouver's out of timeouts, but Alaska's in field goal range, so unless they get a turnover here, their goose is cooked.
Yeah, we need to watch these jersey numbers. At any moment, I have a feeling that they're going to swap out, especially maybe if they get this first down here, it's game over.
1:43 to go in the fourth. This is a revenge game for Alaska, no doubt about that. In the first round of the playoffs last year, Vancouver went to the eye and beat the Storm. That's a first down, and Alaska doesn't even care that they stopped the clock. They're kind of trying to rub this in here a little bit because their season was lost because of Vancouver last year, and now they're doing the same thing to the Legion here tonight.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that. I'm not a fan of that kind of. That's not real good sportsmanship, or maybe it's I don't know, between these two teams. We saw it get chippy early. How many times have we seen in a football game where one team, especially knowing that they're not going to make the playoffs, will do some things here late in the game, start getting a little too physical, saying some things about people's mothers and things like that. And Vancouver doesn't need to incite any of that at this point. Let's go out with some class. And let's go in and get the win and go into the postseason on a high.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. One victory formation and a couple more coming. And the Alaska Storm are the number 2 seed in the SFL playoffs at a 10-2 record. It's their best regular season finish in franchise history. And Alaska, like Tallahassee, like Sioux Falls, like a couple other teams in this playoff race, they've been in a lot of playoff series. Houston's another. They've been in a lot of playoff series, and they've never won a championship. These teams are hungry.
Yeah, and never even been to a championship game.
Right.
So, just to get there for them would be an accomplishment, but I'm sure that they have loftier goals than that. And from what we've seen tonight, I think Tallahassee and Alaska are on this major collision course. Now, these are both teams that have faltered in the postseason, but everything that we've seen in the regular season shows, they're near unstoppable.
Well, they're going to have to take care of business in the weeks to come here, but Alaska will be in action on Monday night, next Monday, in the 1-8-2-7 doubleheader. That doubleheader is here on YouTube. Final score, Alaska 30, Vancouver 16. The Vancouver Legion are eliminated from postseason contention. A great, fine season from Vancouver. Better luck next year. So still in action tonight as we look at the final stats and the dominance at time of possession by the Storm, 27 minutes to 16. 5:10 left Oklahoma City still leading St. Louis 23-17. That's a nail-biter. If the Renegades win, the Sharks are out. If the Gladiators win, the Renegades are out. And at this point, for St. Louis, because San Francisco won, the Gladiators are already out.
Well, that's what you want there in the last week of the regular season. You want all of these games, or as many of them as possible, to count. And it's heartbreaking. I understand that, specifically tonight for Vancouver. But you guys have had a great season. You've got a great owner. You've got a good team build. You know that you're going to be looking for a fresh new face under center. There's exciting times to come for you. And now you can start thinking about the off season for Alaska. You have played this way all season. Why change now? Wonderful performance. Ron Cochran, 60 passing attempts, 50 of those completed. Another 400-yard game, 4 touchdowns. This guy has been on fire, and that's what you want to see right before the playoffs.
Hell of a performance for Ron Cochran. Again, your final, Alaska 30, Vancouver 16. It's been a presentation of the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music. Mark was tremendous on stats.
Yes.
He's perfect. A+. He did not miss a beat tonight. He was outstanding. Robert Merrill finishes with 19 catches for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. One of the best games by a receiver that I've seen in a very, very long time. Wow. Alaska.
We got a plane to catch.
That's right. We do have a plane to catch. We've got to get to Mexico by tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Get that red eye going. And make it happen. Let's see, 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma City's up 6. They're kicking a 41-yard field goal to go up by 2. Score. Oh, they just missed it. Off the post. So St. Louis going to get the ball back under 4 minutes to go. That game's still very much hanging in the balance for St. Louis, who was at one time down 16 to nothing in that game. That was wild off the upright there for Oklahoma City. We're appreciative for having everyone along for the ride. Enjoy the rest of the action this week. We'll see you back tomorrow on Twitch. Me and Steven and the rest of the gang of this SFL crew. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Mexico City, Atlanta. Don't miss it. Show us your bets. We'll see you tomorrow on Twitch.
Adios, mi amigos.